Did you know that the institution of slavery spanned over 400 years, affecting 20 generations from 1619? A startling fact indeed. This grim epic began with the arrival of the White Lion, a ship carrying the first enslaved Africans to the English colonies in America. These individuals, our ancestors, were the true Israelites, a people ripped from their native lands and thrust into centuries of oppression. The Bible, a source of solace and strength for many during this time, contains verses that underscore the gravity of this 400-year period. Genesis 15:13 reads, "Then the Lord said to him, Know for certain that for 400 years your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and that they will be enslaved and mistreated there." These words echoed the reality of the true Israelites, their suffering reverberating through the ages. Historically, this era of slavery was not merely a dark chapter confined to the past. It set in motion a series of systemic injustices that continue to shape our society today. For this reason, supporting initiatives like H.R. 1242, also known as the 400 Years of African American History Commission Act, is of paramount importance. This U.S. law was enacted to develop and carry out activities throughout the United States to commemorate the 400th anniversary of the arrival of Africans in the English colonies at Point Comfort, Virginia in 1619. This journey through the past reveals a sobering truth. The echoes of this 400-year period of injustice still resonate today. It serves as a stark reminder of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity and the unending quest for justice and equality. Yet it also underscores the need for continued action and vigilance in addressing the lingering effects of this historical atrocity. So we see that the echoes of this 400-year period of injustice still resonate today. They serve as a call to action, a reminder that while we've come a long way, there's still much work to be done. Scene script. Switching gears, let's delve into the Sabbath and how modern-day churches serve Yah on Sundays. The Sabbath, a day of rest, originally observed from Friday evening to Saturday evening, holds a significant place in religious history. It's deeply rooted in the biblical commandment of keeping the seventh day holy. But over time, there's been a seismic shift in its observance, with many modern-day churches now holding their main services on Sundays. This shift, a departure from the traditional Sabbath, has its roots in the early Christian church. It was an expression of distinction from Judaism and a celebration of Christ's resurrection, which happened on a Sunday. However, this move, while widely accepted, is not without its critics. There are those who argue that Sunday worship doesn't align with the biblical commandment to observe the Sabbath on the seventh day. Now let's consider the implications of this shift. Some argue that the move to Sunday worship is more than just a change of schedule. It's a deviation from divine instruction. They believe that the Sabbath, in its original form, is a divine gift, a day of rest and spiritual enrichment, which should be observed as commanded. The topic of the Sabbath extends even to the realm of famous pastors. There's a belief held by some that many renowned pastors will not make it. That is, they will not reach the gates of heaven. The reason? Their failure to uphold and advocate for the traditional Sabbath observance. Critics argue that these pastors, with their influence, should lead by example, observing the Sabbath as originally commanded, not just for their sake but for the spiritual well-being of their congregations as well. In conclusion, the Sabbath, its observance and its place in modern-day worship is a complex and often contentious issue. It's a topic that invites us all to reflect on our understanding of divine commandments, the significance of tradition, and the role of religious leaders in upholding these traditions. Remember, the importance of keeping the Sabbath holy cannot be understated. Now let's discuss something of great importance: the promise of Yah's return. This is a promise that has stood the test of time, a promise that has been passed down from generation to generation, and a promise that is as relevant today as it was when it was first made. The Good Book tells us about this promise in many of its verses. For instance, in the book of John, chapter 14, verse 3, it is written, "And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, that where I am, you may be also." This is a clear statement from Yah himself promising us his return. But why is this promise relevant today, you might ask? Well, the state of the world today, with its wars, its unrest, its disregard for the sanctity of the Sabbath, all point towards the fulfillment of this promise. We see signs of Yah's impending return everywhere. The promise of Yah's return is not just a promise of his physical return, but also a call to action for all of us. It is a call to return to our roots, to return to the teachings of Yah, and to prepare ourselves for his return. It is a call to keep the Sabbath day holy, to live righteously, and to strive for justice in a world that often seems unjust. The urgency of this promise cannot be overstated. The world is changing at a rapid pace, and many of the signs that were prophesied in the Good Book are unfolding right before our eyes. The time to act, the time to prepare ourselves for the return of Yah, is now. The promise of Yah's return is a beacon of hope in a world that often seems hopeless. It is a promise that gives us strength, that gives us purpose, and that gives us the courage to stand up for what is right, even when the world around us seems to be going in the wrong direction. As we can see, the signs are all around us. Time is almost up for the bride. In 2023, we've seen some significant weather events. Could these be the signs of Yah? As we reflect on the past year, the weather patterns across the globe have been nothing short of unusual. Extreme heat waves, unprecedented cold snaps, hurricanes of enormous magnitude. Are these mere coincidences, or could they be the divine signals we've been waiting for? In the scriptures, Yah has often used nature to communicate his messages. Could it be that these weather anomalies are his way of signaling his impending return? After all, Yah is known to work in mysterious ways, and it wouldn't be the first time that he has used the forces of nature to demonstrate his power and announce his plans. Take, for instance, the Ring of Fire, a term that has been making headlines and raising eyebrows in the meteorological world. Named for its fiery appearance, this astronomical phenomenon is an annular solar eclipse that leaves a stunning bright ring visible in the sky. It's a sight to behold, a marvel of the natural world. But could it be more than that? Could it be a sign from Yah himself? The Ring of Fire has been interpreted by some as a representation of Yah's omnipotence and his promise to return. It's a powerful image, a ring of light in the darkness, a beacon of hope in a world that often feels filled with despair. While we can't definitively say that the Ring of Fire is a divine sign, it's certainly food for thought. In the face of these extraordinary weather events and celestial phenomena, we find ourselves asking, is Yah trying to tell us something? Is he warning us, reminding us of his promised return? Or are these events simply the result of natural processes, devoid of any divine significance? The answers to these questions are complex and deeply personal. Each of us must interpret these events in our own way, guided by our faith and our understanding of Yah's teachings. But regardless of our interpretations, one thing is clear: our world is changing. Whether these changes are divine signs or not, they are a reminder of our responsibility to care for this earth that Yah has entrusted to us. Whether we choose to interpret these events as signs or not, one thing is clear: our world is changing. As we wrap up, let's revisit the main points we've discussed today. We delved into the startling history of 400 years of slavery, a period that spanned 20 generations, starting from 1619 with the arrival of the White Lion. This epic was a time of immense suffering and hardship for the enslaved, and it has left an indelible mark on our history and collective psyche. Then, we explored the importance of the Sabbath and the role of modern-day churches in our society. We discussed why it's crucial for us to keep the Sabbath day holy, as instructed in Exodus 20:8-11. We also touched upon the controversial issue of Sunday worship, a practice that some believe goes against the sacred commandment to honor the Sabbath. We also delved into the promise of Yah's return, a profound belief held by the true Israelites. This belief is rooted in biblical verses and prophecies, and it provides hope and solace to many, offering a beacon of light in dark times. Moreover, we examined the signs of Yah's return in 2023, particularly as they relate to weather phenomena. These signs, while they may seem abstract and distant, are potent reminders of the divine plan unfolding before our eyes. In conclusion, it's important to remember, as we navigate through these challenging times, that we are all part of a larger narrative, one that is steeped in history and prophecy. With the ticking of the doomsday clock and the ubiquitous tick-tock reminding us of time's relentless march forward, let us remember to keep the Sabbath holy and stay vigilant for the signs of Yah's return.